What's up, Professor Wergeles here. We are on lecture number 30. This is our last lecture for the semester. Congratulations on getting this far. I know this course is a difficult course, and you should be very proud for making it to this lecture. Now, during this lecture, we're going to be talking about data retrieval, closures, which is actually on the final exam, so you want to make sure you pay attention during that part of the lecture. And we're going to look at some jQuery plugins, and we are actually going to hack W3 Schools. So make sure you stick around for that as well. Now, to begin this lecture, I have before class content. Go ahead and download this zip. Store it to your local machine. Make sure you unzip that file. We are on lecture 30, which is the last lecture. It's going to be data retrieval, closures, and jQuery plugins. So I'm creating a directory. I'm going to store this zip. I'm going to unzip it, and I'm going to upload it to my server. On your server, make sure you go into var www.html. That's your public HTML directory. Then inside your lectures directory, we're going to drag and drop data retrieval and make sure it gets uploaded to your server successfully. Inside the data retrieval lecture, we're going to be in number 1, data retrieval, and we're going to look at index.html. Now, the purpose of this part of the lecture is to think about having advertisements on the page, using the templates knowledge and having things dynamically generated. We're going to try to do advertisements and have different advertisements appear. Now, this is a basic concept of data retrieval, and it definitely gets more complicated than this, but I'm trying to open up your mind that will allow you to create a good dynamic application, which is the way you should be thinking when you're programming. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, I have the body, I have some text there. We're mainly going to be focusing on the JavaScript. Okay, so here I have a function called advertisement. Technically, functions in JavaScript are also considered as classes. It's an object. And we're going to be talking about an object's prototype. Okay, so what's a prototype? I have a nice W3 Schools link right up here at the top. You can copy this link, go to it on the browser, and then this should appear. So for an exam, you're going to want to know this. All JavaScript objects inherit properties and methods from a prototype. Okay, if we look here, you'll see a function called person. This is the constructor because I'm passing in variables and then setting those parameters to the fields here in the object. Then you see I'm creating a new instance of person. So I have my father, my mother. They're two different people, and they have two different sets of properties. If you continue to scroll down, you'll see all JavaScript objects inherit properties and methods from a prototype. We have date objects, which inherit from date.prototype. We have array objects, which inherit from array.prototype, and person objects, which inherit from person.prototype. Object.prototype is on the top of the prototype inheritance chain. We actually talk more about this in object-oriented programming, but you'll want to get an idea of what is happening here. You'll see date objects, array objects, and person objects all inherit from the object superclass prototype. Sometimes you may want to add new properties or new methods. Okay, you're going to do this with the prototype property. So here I have a class called person, and I want to add a new variable called nationality. I call person's prototype, create a variable, and assign that variable's value. Or maybe I want to add a function. You'll see I have a class here called person. I'm accessing the person's prototype. I'm adding a function called name, which will return the first name concatenated with the last name. You'll see here, only modify your own prototypes. Never modify the prototypes of standard JavaScript objects. So I'm creating an advertisement class. I'm going to modify those prototypes. I don't want to modify, let's say, JavaScript's local compare. Okay, local compare compares two strings. I don't want to modify that prototype, otherwise it may cause errors in your program. So only modify your own prototypes. So if we go back to the coding example, that's exactly what's happening here. I have an advertisement class. I'm accessing the advertisement prototype, and I'm creating a retrieve method that's going to be added to advertisement. What that's doing is it's making a GET request to info.php. And once that GET request is successful, it's going to call the onSuccess. Now, onSuccess is a parameter passed to the function. So we're going to see this play out here in a little bit, but we're going to open up info.php and find out what's going on in info.php. So in number 1, data retrieval, I'm going to open up info.php, and you'll see it just simply prints back, you just won $1 million. Okay, that's all it does. It's going to pass that back to the GET request here, and then whatever function we pass for onSuccess, it's going to call that function and pass that as a parameter. So let's code this and see this work. Okay, we're going to have to wait till the DOM finishes loading. We need to create a new instance of the advertisement class and call the retrieve function. We're going to do this in the next video, so stick with Professor Orgolese.